So I am in the studio today. It's Sunday, it's really moody out. It's kind of crazy, all the leaves are already off the trees. It's only like it's getting towards the end of October, but autumn ends so much faster here. I guess it makes sense the farther north you go. I'm so tired today, to be honest, but I feel called to work in the studio, and also like my window is so small these days as a mom. And so Mark has Luna right now. I had such an early morning. I think I've been up since like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Luna is going through a developmental leap and she's teething, and maybe there's a sleep regression involved, I don't know. But she's struggling to sleep these days. And so I think I was in there maybe from like 3:30 to 4 to 5, helping her fall back to sleep. And then I was just like, okay, I'm gonna start my day. Thankfully, she slept for another 2 hours and Mark got a good amount of sleep. I will say, when I wake up early before everyone else, I work in the studio, but I have to be quiet so that I don't wake anyone. But I am so tired. It's the afternoon, I'm crashing. I've had 3 cups of coffee today. So I don't think I've mentioned this before, but while I would love to be a full-time artist, and I'll get there one day, but right now it's just not financially consistent enough for us to like pay our monthly bills. So I supplement my artwork with doing like digital marketing. So I do spend a good portion of the week doing marketing. That's what I mean when like I have a smaller window to work in my studio, because a lot of my time is with Luna, and then a lot of my time is with marketing, and then just trying to have like downtime for myself and spending time with Mark and maintaining the house, like getting good sleep. Motherhood is like so hard to balance, but I'm grateful for the situation that we're in. I'm grateful to have a partner who is helping with Luna. I will say Mark is going to be out of the house starting next month. He'll be out of the house 5 days a week. So, and out of the house isn't like during the day. He'll be here in the mornings and in the evenings. But yeah, that's gonna be a big shift for us, because since 2020, Mark and I have worked from home. So, and then that's all Luna's known, is like having the both of us home all the time. So that's gonna be quite the shift. But anyways, it's Sunday, I'm in the studio. If you saw my last video, you know that I am working on a commission, but I'm always kind of having multiple projects in the works. So I'm working on like this pink sculpture. It's a variation of this, but obviously a pink felt. I have so much of this pink felt. I have this massive roll from a past project that I did. And so I'm just trying to get through it. Really mindful with the money that we spend. Art supplies is so expensive. Inflation is like crazy right now. So I'm just trying to use up what I have, which is kind of a fun challenge to begin with. I thought I would bring you along in my space today and see where I go, try to stay awake and focused. And honestly, part of me thinks like I should just rest, and art making is restful for me, but I guess also too with it being a deadline and not just something that I can work on slowly. Don't get me wrong, I have made this deadline is very achievable, and it's based off of what availability I have, but still I just it's less restful when there's a deadline involved. But because knowing my window is just so small to get work done, like sometimes it's really hard to choose rest and to choose self-care and slowness when I'm trying to balance everything else. So anyways, I hope you enjoy seeing my time in the studio, and let's see how long I can do this for. So far, lots of breaks, breastfeeding breaks, me feeding breaks, just checking in on the family. I don't know, I struggle to, it's wild to think, but I have not had more than 3 hours of alone time since Luna was born. That is so crazy to me, but yeah, like 3-hour chunks, and then I'm with Luna, and obviously nighttime, like sometimes she sleeps for 6 hours straight. I'm not counting that. I'm talking about like wake periods. I get like 30 minutes to 3 hours at a time. And it is so hard, but also like sometimes it's my doing. I think she has a little separation anxiety from me. Obviously, she's so used to being with her mama, but also I have a little separation anxiety too. Like she's 14 months and I can't even comprehend like a night away from her. Definitely think I could manage like a day away, and that just hasn't happened yet, and I'm not sure when that's gonna happen, and that's okay. That's just, you know, where we're at. Anyways, thankfully, like the work that I do is so organic and intuitive and not a crazy amount of measurements that I can like take a break and just get back in, or multitask and watch her while I'm working. I will say I do make mistakes though if I'm multitasking too much or if I'm too tired, like today. But yeah, I haven't made this type of sculpture in a while. I think the last time I made one of these was I was still pregnant. So the process, it's fun to be diving into this process again. I'll insert a clip of the very original sculpture where this concept, this method, this beautiful bubbly creature that I've made. And ever since I've made this large piece, it's transitioned into smaller versions of varying colors. And I'm excited for this commission because I've never made one at this size. It's kind of like a middle ground between the original and the smaller ones that I've made. So I've just done tinies and large versions. So yeah, and the method is, it's simple. I mean, for me, I consider it simple. I don't know what someone else who doesn't have sewing experience or doesn't like tedious processes, but I feel that it is pretty simple. Almost all of my sculptures start out with just a flat piece of paper, oh my gosh, flat sheet of fabric or felt. And yeah, you have to, I mean, there's definitely a creative process of how to make something that's completely flat, kind of lifeless, that's how it feels, and transforming it into something three-dimensional. My background, I have a degree in sculpture, but I also spent a lot of my time with the textile fibers department, and kind of was like an honorary double major. And so between the two practices and the two genres or categories of art, I just fell in love with making three-dimensional textile sculptures. It is such a fun material to work with, like wood, metal, glass. Like they're not forgiving, at least from my perspective. They're not forgiving. You make a mistake, you're screwed. Versus fibers, like there's some give and take, and you know, you can remove the stitches and rework a piece, and I love how forgiving it is. And I mean, as you're watching my process, I am not someone who does like very mathematical based work. Of course, I'm like measuring the size of my pieces. Like there is math involved, but I really like to just use organic forms, so intuitively. I'm not super rigid. This to me is the most healing for my mental health. I have tried to do pattern making and things like that. And certain sculptures like these, actually I do a little pattern so that I can recreate these shapes, but it is nowhere near like clothing, wearable design, things like that. I used to do a lot of wearable art, and it just, in the end, was too structured for me personally, from my experience. I'll just share a little bit about the process, starting from this fabric. I sew a very simple stitch, but a tight stitch. I am sewing pretty much large U's, or these like loops. of varying heights, varying widths. Again, like I don't like it to be super structured, so by just going with it creates a really nice organic variety. I cut out all the pieces after they're sewed, and then I flip them, I guess, right side in. So I'm sewing them inside out, and then I flip them around. I just use a plastic crochet hook, but I've also used like pens, straws, whatever I have. These little shapes. Where's my crochet hook? Yeah, so I use this to flip it inside out, and it becomes these tubes. And then from these tubes, I will stuff them. So what's fun for self-sculpture is you're creating a sculptural form that's soft and squishy and just kind of asking to be touched. I think a lot of the work that I make is very tempting for people to touch, very playful. I love that about the type of textiles that I do. So anyways, once I have these stuffed, then I will attach them to my base structure, which I haven't made yet. I am still waiting on some materials that I've ordered. I might give some insight into how I attach these, but I might keep it a mystery. It is an interesting thing sharing my practice on YouTube, because I haven't shared too much on other social media platforms, and I think, you know, there's a fear in the art world of people stealing your style, stealing your, I mean, not just other artists copying your work, and I know copying is a form of flattery, but to an extent it's inappropriate, but also like larger companies and retailers mass producing versions of your work are super cheap. And yeah, so it's like, how much do I really want to share? So I probably won't show beyond this process, to be honest, and keeping that mystery alive of how it all comes together into this blossoming, textured wall piece. But yeah, I have a few more weeks to work on this before I send it off to the client. If you haven't seen my previous video before this one, it's all about my commission process. So like how I get commissions, legal agreements that I draft for my clients to sign, to shipping things safely, certificates of authenticity. My tired mom brain. How I design certificates of authenticity and the other documents I include when shipping my pieces. And yeah, it's all, that video encompasses all the knowledge that I've gathered from my experience, from research and talking to other artists. So definitely check it out if you think that it would be useful for your art practice. I'm gonna get back into this, keep moving and grooving, and then try to relax, maybe take a bath, who knows.